Okay, so on all the problems we did on the last part, there were two parts that we had put together to make a bigger part. The other kind of problems we could have is where basically a bite has been taken out of it. For instance, here, if I wanted to make this shape out of a piece of paper, we literally take a rectangle and cut out the circle part. We know that's how we'd have to do it in order to cut this. That's the same thing we're going to do when we work these problems out. For this part, I've divided it up for you, but in the real world, like on your homework or your test, they're just going to be mixed up and you have to decide which are adds and which are subtracts. So here's our first one, but for now, these are all subtract ones. You have to first do these same steps, so you may want to take a minute and write these down, but I wrote them out for you already. Still find the shapes. Well, our shape is this rectangle, and then I need to take away this half circle right here. I'm cutting away this part, like if I cut it out with scissors. And it does put a minus in here. So we're going to do the same thing. Other than that, now we write out our formulas just like before. Well, the rectangle is 6 times 6. And the circle, remember I put a half because it's just a half the circle I'm losing there, is pi r. Well, what's the r of the circle? Well, if this is 6, the diameter is 6, so the radius is 3 squared. You want to write this out. If you try to keep all this in your head, you're going to get the half here mixed up with the radius and you're going to mess it up. Just write this step out. It does not take very long to write this step, and you will get problems correct much more often if you just write this step out. Then go to your calculator. It's also easier to figure out where you made a mistake if you have it written down. If you just do it all in your calculator, you don't know what your mistake is. Okay, and we get 21.87 feet squared. All right, our next problem. So here we have a circle. And I'm going to minus a triangle. Minus a triangle. So let's get started on this. So the circle is pi. What's the r of the circle? R equals 8. Because they gave me the diameter, so the r is 8. And then a triangle is 1/2. The base, okay, the base is 16. What's the height of this triangle? Oh, well, the height of the triangle is the same thing as the radius of the circle. So it's also 8. So sometimes you have to figure out something from it based on the other parts of the picture. Always remember to look at the radius of circles or the diameter of circles. All right, now that I have it written down, I'm ready to go to my calculator. And notice every time I'm typing the whole thing in just like on my paper. Don't hit enter in the middle, it's just going to mess you up. And that's feet squared. Alright, I have two more here for you. I particularly kind of like this one. It makes an interesting little shape here. But what do we have? Just break it down to the basics of what you have. Well, I've got a big rectangle on the outside. And then minus 4 triangles. So if I just figure one of these triangles, all 4 of those triangles are the same size because they have the little marks saying they're the same size. So I can just do 4 times one of those. Alright, so the big rectangle. Okay, well this end is 8. And this side is 18. Okay, now my triangles. My formula is 1/2. Look at one triangle here. The base is 4 and the height is 4. Now this formula here, once I've written it down, it looks a little complicated. But remember, this is just 4 triangles. Now my formula for the triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I just do each step individually. Again, don't try to do this in your head. Just write it down. Inches squared. And finally, I like these donut shapes. It's two circles that have the same center. We call those concentric circles because they have the same center. And it makes a donut. So what we've got is we've got the big circle minus the little circle. And I just like to write it like this. Big circle minus the little circle. So let's see. For the big circle, it's pi r squared. Is the radius of the big circle 3? No. What's the radius of the big circle? Well, if this part is 9 here, and this part is 3, the radius of the big one is 12. So don't get carried away and go too fast and mess this up. It's actually easy to figure out. You have to find the radius of the big circle. It's just 12. This part plus that part. Then the little circle is pi, and the radius of the little circle is 9. Now just put in your calculator. That's it.